Obviously, people argue that these lessons do not belong in a kid's show, that they are highly inappropriate. The type who believe that you need to protect the children and keep them innocent, as if a hidden innuendo will ruin their childhood or taint their innocence. To that I say, it's better to be made aware of these lessons through a funny cartoon than tragically discovering them. I'm not saying kids need to grow up, but to offer no wisdom in these stories we tell them is damaging. And I feel that Adventure Time is very brave to breach these difficult topics and leave us with a better sense of what to do. Working with very serious and relevant topics that are relatable to all ages makes Adventure Time more than a funny show. It actually makes it a good source of learning, not facts, but life lessons.
The topic of growing up and going through physical and mental changes is a relevant one, not just to kids and teens, but also to adults.
Oh, hey, it's okay. People make mistakes. It's all part of growing up, and you never really stop growing.
Preach it, Duke of Nuts. So, a question to ask now is, why did the creators deliberately put these messages into this cartoon show? It is aimed at kids. They have a target demographic of 8 to 12-year-olds. So what gives?
The creator of the show, Pendleton Ward, says, primarily we write the show to entertain ourselves. Another interview has him saying, we try to share our innermost secrets about ourselves. That's what people can relate to, and that's what makes the show worth watching and making for us. If it was just goofy cartoon nonsense, we'd all be bored.
That's right. These jokes and messages are in there so that the creators can enjoy what they're doing too. Makes sense. Cartoons are made by adults. This also is a good lesson, actually, on loving what you do and putting yourself into your work, seeing as it's greatly benefited Pendleton Ward to do so. What's interesting here is that Adventure Time is not an adult-oriented cartoon like Family Guy or whatever the hell's on Adult Swim nowadays. So, when these topics get brought up, they're not presented in a cynical or joking manner. And in that sense, Adventure Time feels really genuine with itself.
Even the Cartoon Network content chief agrees. There's not a cynical bone in the body of Adventure Time, he says.
I feel like this is part of the answer to why Adventure Time appeals to such a wide age range. While having mature subjects in cartoons helps, I don't feel like these are put in there just to attract an older audience.
Adventure Time is a baffling show, with its random humor and surprisingly dark moments. It's like we keep coming back because we don't understand it. Every episode has something unpredictable to it that adds an excitement to watching it. What I'm getting at is that Adventure Time can tap into our ability to wonder, an experience that is mostly attributed to children. But being adults doesn't mean we know everything, even though we live in a world that stresses the importance of facts and knowledge. To be able to be enchanted, to be inspired to wonder is a rare experience in the adult world. Maybe that's why this show appeals to such a wide age range. And that's the special quality about Adventure Time that is beyond nostalgia. Something about its fairy tale-like structure that allows for meaningful messages to be shared and searched out.
On that note, I'm gonna make a quick comparison between Adventure Time and The Little Prince.
The Little Prince is a short novel written in 1943 by French writer Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. What the hell does this have to do with Adventure Time? Well, it tackles near-identical themes about adulthood, growing up, and holding on to your childhood, ultimately favoring the ability to still wonder at the world, even as an adult. James E. Higgin does a great job of breaking down the essence of this story in his book, The Little Prince, A Reverie of Substance, which I will be referencing and quoting in this part of the video. The Little Prince has a similar fantastical setting and equally melancholy moments in a story that seems like something you'd read to a toddler. But, like Adventure Time, The Little Prince isn't just cute. It pushes its reader to examine the world and themselves, to learn the essential value of wonder and imagination. It is a book that means to disturb, to bring into question certain values and notions. Higgins identifies the book's genre as mystical fantasy for children, which he describes as having 5 qualities. They appeal to the heart, they are intuitively conceived, they reflect the reality of a spiritual world, they reach for a feeling of beyondness, and they are marked by an atmosphere of joyful sadness. Pendleton Ward actually has a similar thing going for Adventure Time, saying, "Those are my favorite kind of emotions, the ones that conflict with each other, and they feel weird inside you." Which makes a lot of sense when you look at Adventure Time. Like being happy and sad at the same time. Both Adventure Time and The Little Prince share this, and it leads to a deeper ideology about growing up, about the preservation of childlike attitudes into maturity without sacrificing the realism of one's perception of evil, to refuse to divorce our childhood from growing up, but to merge the two together. This is where wonder comes in. It's one of the closest things we have to having that childhood innocence and awe at a mystery. And through this wondering, we find ourselves confronted with heavy questions about existence and meaning. Adventure Time and The Little Prince guide us through these intense questions, showing us that life and death are one, that fear is not to be eradicated but dealt with. They are addressing secrets we already know, but because of discomfort or pain, we never truly considered them important. The secret of being human. Finn is the only human in the land of Ooo, and each episode is him discovering another layer to the human condition of heartbreak and loss, and joy and pleasure. Now, I'm not suggesting some kind of conspiracy between the Adventure Time crew and The Little Prince, don't get me wrong here. I'm just noticing a lot of similarities. I mean, they even kind of look alike. That aside, ultimately, this is about pondering the inner mysteries of yourself, reclaiming the power of childhood imagination, and to have the confidence in the fresh, clear-eyed vision of self-knowledge. Childish wonder, when confronted with art such as The Little Prince or Adventure Time, is the first step towards not knowledge, but wisdom. By discussing these adult themes and challenging them, Adventure Time imprints important messages about growing up and being responsible. It invites us to wonder and reveals to us the secrets of being human. It is dark and life-affirming, funny and frightening. The nice can be naughty and the naughty nice. It is not a cartoon made for children, but it is not a cartoon not made for children. And that is why adults like to watch Adventure Time.
And this concludes my video. Thanks for sticking through and watching to the end if you made it here. Do appreciate it. Leave a comment if you want to say something, and go watch some Adventure Time.